Thank you, Philippe, and thank you, Forepont Capital Partners, for your trust and the invitation to be here with you on this webinar. So I have 10 minutes to try to summarize several years of work, whether on our side or on BCareLink's side, but I'm going to try to give you a very interesting message today, and I am very excited about it. First of all, today is the first time in English that we are announcing officially that we are now part of the Forepont family and that we are acquiring a company in their portfolio, as you said, Philippe, BCareLink, to become a ReLyfe group. So it's a global capital increase of 40 million euros that we have just signed with Forepont and the team, Julien, Eric, Ismail, Ali, and Larry. They are supporting us not only financially, but also strategically and operationally, which is very important. As you know now, Forepont is a French-American fund making an exit with us on one of their AI startups, and I will present this startup, so allowing us to acquire it. Now, who am I and what we are doing, in fact? Quickly, I am born in an underprivileged neighborhood in Lebanon from poor parents. I suffered during my childhood from the difficulty of access to healthcare. So I made it my life fight. In 2004, I left my family and arrived in France, Marseille, at the age of 17 with no money. I'm now 34 years old, a French-Lebanese surgeon and entrepreneur, researcher in AI and digital health expert, as you said, Philippe. I worked specifically for several years on the prediction of cancer, and I introduced a new AI reinforcement learning model in health tech to transform data into actions in real life and to move medicine into 6 Ps involving patients. You know, this famous 6 Ps. So I created a French startup in 2016, but the activity started, in fact, 1 year later after I decided to leave the hospital. And during my research, when I learned and tried to predict cancer by using new machine learning approach, I made 3 major findings that you should all know and have in mind. So listen carefully. In fact, you have 3 steps to produce a relevant AI in medicine. To summarize, the first step is the sharing of medical information. Today, in healthcare, everywhere in the world, we work in silos. There are so many different software programs, applications, and systems that make sharing very complicated. The second step, once we share and digitize, we arrive at a technical stage, which is not very well known in general, and which you recently saw IBM confront with Watson, for example. And that is what we call data structuring. The structuring of medical information, which is really very, very important. This is what I have also seen in the context of my research. Once the information is digitized, it is often in the form of a file or in the form of what we call unstructured data. And so there is the second major challenge, Philippe, which is the structuring of this data in a prospective way. I mean, in real world. I think Eric told a little bit about this. So following patients' health lifetime pathway. We are tackling exactly the second step, which needs to be carried out before arriving to that at the third step. The third step is the analysis of this data, or what we call, if you want, the transformation of the medical information into actions, prevention, screening, and predictive actions to help patients and doctors in the decision making. So these are the 3 important steps which are very essential before arriving at a relevant democratized AI into a worldwide platform. So we have done 4 years of research and development on a very advanced solution that responds to all these steps, especially the first and the second one, starting by sharing, communication, digitization of information in an interactive and interoperable way, putting the patient and the security of his data at the center, and then the structuring of this information once the data arrives on the patient's health profile. It must be structured automatically. That is to say, able to be exploited by the algorithms, and something very new that we call, I don't know if you heard about it, we call this dynamic treatment regimes, using real-world evidence data. And so the meeting with Eric and a wonderful AI guy, Larry Rubin, who is, I think, connected. He is PhD. He founded BeakerLink in New York. This meeting with them was a determining factor in the history of my company, because BeakerLink's team has done some extremely interesting work on the third part. I mean, on the analysis predictive part with focus on chronic diseases like neurodegenerative. And he has succeeded in creating a very interesting digital therapy, validated, certified with an economic model that generates revenue on the American market and that therefore makes it possible to predict the evolution of multiple sclerosis, for example. This great meeting of three founders, Eric, Larry, and I, with, I want to say, three disruptive visions, medicine, tech, and finance, completed the puzzle with these three steps to become ReLyfe, to become that health data focused group who has a strong position, a major technology on the entire chain of creating AI, which is ultimately a result of trying to transform information into action and create a personalized health profile. This is my dream, a personalized health profile for each patient on this planet. And that's how the merger took place. And so we become ReLyfe with now 30 employees in France and United States. And what is interesting that I must underline is the investment of Forepont, which is, I repeat, not only a financial investment. Julien said something about this also. Of course, they are leading the Series A, but they have already made a strategic investment in such a short period of time for the growth of ReLyfe. How? By allowing an immediate virtuous bridge between Europe and the United States. It is, as you know, for the French people, it's so rare for a startup like us here in France to be able to gain a footprint so quickly in the American market by allowing us to take advantage of Forepont established network and by immediately making medical, scientific, academic, university, industrial, pharmaceutical, hospital, and corporate partnerships. So everybody, I invite you to visit ReLyfe.com. A unique global technology is already operational. And let me also tell you something about the active involvement of Forepont alongside myself. I mean, alongside the entrepreneur, the founder, and alongside the whole team around me, which is a rare asset. Honestly, I've seen investors, I've seen VCs. I did not want to take just the first coming investor on our Series A. Today, we found ourselves with Forepont, I think. They detected the potential. Ismail also stressed on this. And above all, they brought something that will really allow us to go to scale and to scale on an international dimension very quickly, which will also save us several years and which, above all, secures the growth of ReLyfe. To finish, we have now a unique platform, patented and validated in the United States, and which is also certified and tested in Europe, since we have done a year and a half of proof of concept with doctors and major players. And we have also started to generate revenues on the French market. With Larry, we will be working with a consortium of 3 of the largest hospitals in the world, in USA, and with recognized pharmaceutical companies, for example, Biogen. We are carrying out clinical trials, and this will also enable us to accelerate our positioning with industrial and academic partnerships. I've already had serious discussions with all these partners. We've done a detailed due diligence, of course, several weeks of negotiations to conclude this extremely interesting and international deal. So what I want to say in conclusion is that we are now technologically ahead of the game in the prospective collection and securing of medical data from any computer, any medical software, any doctor, any device, anywhere in the world, coupled with the predictive capabilities of the digital therapy of BeakerLink. All of this forms a universal, scalable, and now unique cutting-edge technology for sharing, structuring, and analyzing real-life health data which, as you know, fits a real need, especially after COVID, that is extremely promising today and has a business model, as I told you. We are not making technology for technology. We need to make a business, a worldwide business. So this is already generating revenues in France and in United States. And this operation with you guys at Forepont contributes to the launch of a medtech group on a global market. You know, the global market value is $200 billion, guys. It's a huge and not yet disrupted. Now listen to me carefully, sorry, and I will finish just 1 minute. Our ambition is to create a leading medical data science company. And to be the leader in this field, the round of financing will continue, of course, but that's the main part of what I wanted to tell you for the moment. I'm extremely proud, of course, honored to be part of this wonderful family. We are now going to execute the plan. This is the most important, and show that we have achieved is unique by having, I hope, in a few years, the largest real-life health database in a single intersection, a sort of hub, cross-roading health actors, which will help medical research and especially improve the treatment of chronic diseases. Last thing, if you have to remember one thing from my speech today, keep in mind this: ReLyfe is a new way of managing health data into a private network, connecting any patient to any doctor everywhere. And believe me, we are going to be the next generation medical AI communication platform revolution. Thank you very much.